Ton should be a gateway to crypto for the majority.
That's awesome. That's a fantastic story. So you literally were a hackathon attendee for years. Now it's one of the biggest DeFi products on Ton.
People like super apps.
Welcome back to another episode of Crypto Chats, where today we're talking to Dennis from Stormtrade. He's the CEO of Stormtrade. And if you can get us started, just to get us started here, let's ask, what is Stormtrade and why should people be interested to use it?
Yeah, absolutely. So Stormtrade is the first and largest perpetual futures DEX in Ton ecosystem. So what does this mean? Basically, it means that it allows you to leverage trade multiple different assets, like crypto, forex, and commodities in a completely non-custodial way on a Ton blockchain, using different assets as a collateral. So, for example, we all know and someone loves futures, right? So when you just leverage trade, you wait to success. But also there is definitely some controversy around the futures trading, right? Some can call it too risky, and so on. So Stormtrade actually, aside from taking on these risky trades, it allows you to do some really clever things, like you can hedge your Ton exposure, for example. So whenever you are farming some liquidity rewards on StoneFi and other protocols, you're usually doing this in a pools like Ton to USDT, which means that you have a certain directional exposure to the Ton, right? So it means that the Ton price would affect the value of your position. So by using Stormtrade to hedge this leg of a trade, so you have 1,000 Ton and 10,000. Suppose the Ton is at 10, so you have 1,000 Ton and for 10,000 USDT in a pool, you're farming rewards, and to completely negate your exposure to Ton, so that Ton price going down wouldn't affect your portfolio at all. You can just open up a short position on Storm and enjoy your profits farming while staying almost completely delta neutral.
Okay. So one of the kind of core features that you see as a major benefit is actually hedging risk in farming positions. So when you've got the liquidity pool, you need to provide liquidity on both sides of the pool. And that gives you a directional risk because Ton or whatever the other asset against USDT can go up and down in value, right? So even though the APYs might be attractive, you might actually you might actually have an issue if the price of that token on the other side was to go down. So on Stormtrade, I can actually hedge my position by what am I doing? If it's going down, I'm longing Ton, and if it's going up,
since whenever you are LPing into the position, you spot hold these tokens, and whenever you hold something on spot, it means you're basically long position.
Yeah.
So to hedge it, you open up the short position.
Okay, cool. And you guys have been kind of the first perps kind of DEX on Ton, right? You were very early on in starting out. You're one of I think you are the only perps DEX on Ton right now that's actually launched on mainnet. So what do you think was actually the reason why you chose Ton, and why did you come over to start building here?
Yeah, first of all, we are not the only live perp DEX Ton right now. I think Tradu guys are actually live.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, they're doing great as well. But yeah, why we're building this on Ton? When we came to the Ton ecosystem, first of all, we did some research on what projects are actually live here in Ton, and we found out that, well, there's pretty much nothing, right? You can build it, except probably for like the spot dexes.
Hmm.
And when we came to Tron, we saw like that there are strong spot dexes and spot decks already built, like I think Stormfly, D-Dust, and Megaton was quite big at this time.
Hmm.
So this is why we decided to build perps, because first of all, it's one of the like important like building bricks for every DeFi ecosystem. So what you need in DeFi in spot trading, you need like spot leverage, so lending protocols. You need CDP, like based on stable coin thing, and you need derivatives. So like it's like every ecosystem has those like building blocks.
Hmm.
And of course, the derivative space is completely open, and derivatives is one of the most challenging things to build. And actually, we do enjoy challenge. And also, if we look at the tone, like from a different angle, not just from an angle like what you would build on a blockchain, but with the integration with the Telegram, Tone opens up a way for a lot of people to come in and start using crypto. And we all know that like 80% of all trading volumes in crypto are on futures. So this
Hmm.
is one of the most popular trading product. So
Hmm.
combine like the blockchain with a lot of users and building like one of the most popular trading product, you can actually imagine building something really big.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what excites us.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So you've got Telegram's distribution. You've got a product which is the most popular way to trade crypto, and you want to merge the two together to build the biggest perps decks. Are you targeting like? Do you want to be as big as like the biggest ones that exist? Like you're targeting like GMX size or um, other kind of perp dexes on other chains? Like, do you see that you could reach those levels, or or a near term target that's a bit
Honestly,
smaller?
yeah, like honestly, I think we can become bigger, like really.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you'd expect so if you can get like clicker level traffic to start trading perps on Ton, and the user experience of Storm Trade is great, right? It's like it's just as easy as using a normal like Binance account or something to trade, right? So yeah, no reason why it couldn't be so big. So why do you think it's not taking off so quickly right now? What do you find are like the challenges, and maybe you can touch on like the technical issues that you may have had on the Tom blockchain, as well as like other marketing issues or any kind of things that are kind of holding you back from real success at the moment.
Yeah. So regarding like the issues, first of all, regarding like the whole growth thing and so on and so forth. Um, as we can see currently, most of the people are onboarding to like the turn through like to say that the clicker games.
Mhm.
And that means that first of all, those users are not very familiar like with trading at all. And second of all, their motivation is it is a fun thing, you can get an airdrop, and it's not exactly the motivation like to come here and trade. So I
Right.
think for any product with like a financial use case, it is a challenge to convert those users to the actual application users. So
Hmm.
this is why. And it is pretty evident from like the whole situation with the volumes on the top, right? So as we can see, TVL is growing, volumes are growing, but still they are like nowhere near like the Solana, like the on-chain volumes. So
Hmm.
it is not exactly like the issue with the Storm Trade only. I think it's just that the ecosystem is taking this path on like being the retail first, and it is pretty difficult to like um, onboard uh, gamers and like Web3 novices to like financial use cases. But
I see.
obviously we are getting there, right? Obviously we are getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think currently we do run like 20 million per day, which is a significant volume. I mean,
Yeah,
it's not that much compared to like the giants like DYDX and GIMX, uh, but it's more than a lot of lesser perplexes and like Arbitrum chains and so on and so forth.
I see.
So yeah,
Yeah.
and I think another part of your question was actually like on technical issues,
Mm.
because yeah,
Yeah.
those things I can talk about. I can talk about. So on the tech stuff, first of all, Tone is great. The Tone is great blockchain, but there are some, I would say, limitation to its greatness.
Hmm.
Namely, like Tone is a very high throughput system, so it can serve a lot of transactions per second. However, like when a simple guy like me is told that something is fast, it usually assumes that it cannot only handle a lot of transactions per second, but the execution time is also fast, right? But unfortunately, Tone is not the case. It's like a high throughput, but also a high latency system, with a transaction execution taking anywhere from 15 to like 45 CFS seconds to a minute, and so on. We even had a transaction that actually was executed on chain for an hour.
Hmm.
And for
I see.
some use cases, it is not a huge problem, right? So, for example, uh, like, I mean, hours too much for most of the use cases. Like swap taping, like a minute, well, it's definitely uncomfortable, but it's not a huge deal. But
Mhm.
whenever you are trading with leverage, right? Imagine your position with X50 leverage taking a minute or two to open. Whoa, that's scary. Whoa, that's scary.
Right. Right.
And this is one of the, I think, main challenges for us. As currently, we are completely redesigning our architecture, and actually, we like, actually releasing this new version of the protocol like really soon,
Oh, nice.
with all of those considerations in mind. So
Hmm.
the speed of your position being opened would be very much comparable to like any other like decks out there, maybe even faster. But to do this, we actually had to offload a lot of work to the sequencer side, like the off-chain side, the
Mm.
blockchain owner, like verifying what the sequencer is doing, verifying all the prices, verifying the local data, and basically using blockchain as a settlement layer, while all of the trading actually happening off-chain. And it's a pretty difficult thing to build, like compared to
Mm.
just using like the blockchain that's like innately fast. So
Hmm.
for
Hmm.
us, that actually became like the biggest technical challenge. Not even like the whole designing the application in a way that it works in Tron, not only the like, designing that it works with sharding and like using like fancy the programming language. Those are difficult things,
Mm.
but actually, like offloading all the trading off chain is something that really took a lot of time and effort.
Yeah. Yeah. Then you touch on a lot of great things there, and there's a lot to unpack. And to touch on your like last comment around Ton, while it's like highly scalable, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's fast transaction execution, right? It can
Yeah,
handle a massive load of millions and hundreds of millions of users, but that doesn't mean that it necessarily is like instant execution at that levels, right?
yeah,
And I think that a lot of people kind of see Ton as, we did the speed test and all of that, and transactions per second shows you kind of one thing, but when you have complex transactions going to single wallets and all of these kinds of edge cases, then the speed of execution can slow down a bit. And this is a big thing that the core developers I believe are working on a lot, in like launching kind of high load wallets and new kind of smart contracts for wallets that enable much higher load to come through them. So I think they're working on this side as well, and that's amazing to hear that you're also working on kind of rebuilding the app in a certain way that actually makes it easy for those high load times. And then yes, yeah. So when do you think that's going to come out? Like when are you launching that next? level of your app?
Yeah, actually, it is in testing right now. I think we'll
Okay.
launch it probably during the upcoming month.
Mhm.
Obviously, it needs to undergo a lot of testing. But yeah, it's really, really, really soon, and it's really close.
Okay, that's awesome. That's very, very cool. So we're going to have a perfect UX perps dex. What assets can we trade on Storm Trade now?
Yeah, so currently it is popular crypto.
Okay.
So it is like Tron itself, obviously Notcoin is one of the like main drivers of our trading volume.
Hmm.
Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, some larger meme coins, some DeFi stuff. Uh, so basically all the popular crypto is here.
Hmm.
But what we really do is we want to expand it in a few ways. First of all, I think it will be completely amazing for us to allow for commodities trading.
Hmm.
And we actually done a first step towards this. We actually improved our risk management model quite a bit now. It can accommodate pairs with different volatility profiles, so to speak. And yeah, so the commodities is really coming
It's
in.
coming soon.
And also
That's the
Forex.
next step.
Yes, that's the next step.
Nice.
And Forex as well.
Hmm.
And like on the other hand, I think for the last 2 months we're actually researching the ways on how we can list like in ecosystem assets that are currently present like in Ton only.
Hmm.
Since like Notcoin obviously showed us that there is a lot of interest like in ecosystem assets, Notcoin probably like number one or number two traded assets. Like
Yeah.
sometimes it's like the volume for the Notcoin is in higher than the volume for the Ton itself. So yeah, we are really wanting to release some high-end Tom Jetons, but still without listing on the huge centralized exchanges. It is quite difficult, like risk management wise. But
Hmm.
I think we're getting somewhere with this. Like no promises, but we're experimenting, and it's getting better.
That's cool. So you mean like any kind of jeton would be able to list, or just like a few of the selected ones you would choose
Definitely
to
not
list?
everyone. Yes,
Yeah.
definitely not everyone. So really only like probably like top five like with the highest market cap,
I
with a
see.
huge liquidity. Because you see, like the main challenge is to balance basically like, the limits of the open interest and the available leverage to the liquidity of the jeton.
Hmm.
Because if like one single swap of like $1,000, right, changes the price significantly, then you can just open up like the long or the short position with a huge leverage, and you can guarantee yourself a profit on the future, right? So if you can
I
affect the
see.
spot price,
Yeah.
then it's very easy for you to trade on futures.
Hmm.
So this is exactly what we'd like to prevent. And in general, like there is no magic pill that can prevent this. It's just selecting the right parameters that would protect the exchange and liquidity providers, while still getting users like something, right? Something to play.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, interesting. So I'd never really thought about that side of like risk management if there's low liquidity in the trade. So how does it actually work? Like if you were to list to say, if I was to mention like Redo token, like to list Redo on Storm Trade, what would what's the process there, and what kind of problems come into play with listing a
Yeah,
token like that?
yeah. So I mean, actually, like all the token listings are pretty similar. So for this, let's dig a bit into this storm of like architecture. Like
Yeah.
someone say that there's like a virtual AMM like behind the storm. So
Hmm.
what the virtual AMM means like anyway. It just means that obviously it's futures, so there is like no real assets being traded. So this is why it's virtual. So you're not providing liquidity for like Bitcoins, like Ethereum, Solana to trade Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana on Storm. So this
Hmm.
is why it's virtual. And another thing, why it's like an AMM, why we can't just trade it on the Oracle price, right? Because we can fetch like Oracle price from like Binance, Kraken, OKX, aggregate it into like a single price, and allow you to trade just using this price, right?
Okay.
And that actually can work for some very high liquidity assets, such as Bitcoin. But for the assets with a small capitalization, like this free liquidity actually pose a significant risk to an exchange and liquidity providers, because again, on larger scale, all of the assets are clearly like can be manipulated by huge holders, and
Right.
this is like one of the ways that relatively recently, I think like 6 months ago, the DYD fetching was actually attacked by the guys who like did some price manipulation, like DeFi asset, which is listed on Binance, but still it's like a DeFi token, not a lot of liquidity on exchanges, so it's really easy to manipulate. And since the YDX had not optimized their risk management for this particular asset, that meant that they suffered a significant loss on like the insurance fund side. So to prevent this, what we do is, in addition to the price, we actually like reflect the liquidity from the outside market. That's its withdrawal. So we see that the market depth for an asset like in outside market is like a certain depth, right? Plus or minus like 2%, means like you need like 50K, right? So that will be reflected on Storm. So whenever you open up a trade of like 50K, your price will be 2% worse than the current price. So this is reflected. And this prevents like an attacks that allows you to manipulate the price in the spot market and extract value on the futures, because we do not give you like the free liquidity, you're still paying for this. And to list like the Redo or like any other token, we just need to pick the right parameters that would reflect the market and process certain limits on like the trade sizes and so on and so forth compared to again the upside liquidity. And the challenge is to make it like tradable for the users, because we can do it like at very strict limits, like 1,000 like USD like limit, 10,000, but it's nothing, right? It's very difficult to trade, and it will create more like more friction for the traders and actually like benefit them. And the ways to select the parameters like the leverage, the fees, market depth, and so on and so forth, in a way that it creates at least somehow tradable product, while keeping the risk profile for liquidity providers quite conservative.
I see. So you have your Vaults product, right? And so the liquidity for your trading comes from the asset liquidity in those vaults. Is that right?
Yes.
Right. Okay. I see. And so when people are trading on the Perp Dex, so basically to list a token, there needs to be adequate liquidity in the vaults to start off with.
The liquidity in our vaults is already quite adequate. I think we just reached like 20 million in TVL. And for Perp Dex, this is a really nice liquidity. But since the vault serves as a counterparty for trades, we need to ensure that those trades cannot be manipulated, so the vaults cannot be drained.
Right.
And since all of the pairs are connecting to the same vault, because the vault is like in the settlement assets, right? It's either like USDT or TON. Like if we give access to like Bitcoin traders to this vault, it's like one risk profile. If we give access like of Redo traders, with the Redo itself being quite centralized, right, to those traders, it's a completely different story. It's a completely different risk profile, and this is exactly why it's challenging. So we need to create a lot of like limits and safeguards for these smaller cap tokens, so that it would not pose a significant risk to liquidity provider, because otherwise the liquidity provider will just withdraw, and overall trading experience on Storm will suffer.
I guess if there's would there be the potential to although there's more risk for liquidity providers, there's also more rewards, right? And is that the kind of direction you'd take with it? So you'd give, by listing these smaller cap tokens, yes, okay, we're going to have more risks for traders, more risks for liquidity providers, but then there's going to be higher rewards for those liquidity providers for providing that liquidity.
Yeah, this is one of the challenges because actually listing those assets does not increase liquidity providers' rewards by a lot.
Okay.
Because since they're smaller cap, there would be
Right.
some limits on the open interest. So the
I see.
trading volumes for those assets wouldn't be as high as, for example, like Notcoin and Tron, right? And we can
Yeah.
see this
Yeah.
on the coin market cap. So if you go to coin market cap and just check out the spot trading volumes, you can see
Mm-hmm.
that the spot trading volumes for those assets are much, much lower than the trading volumes for the Not and Tron.
Yeah.
And surely that would be reflected in the futures volume. And this is why there is not like a lot of significant gain for liquidity providers,
Mm.
but there's a lot of additional risk, right? Because of the price manipulation and like lots of coins being in one hands, like there's
I
always
see.
a potential,
I
especially for
see.
like a meme,
So it's
right?
actually not, it's not really worth it.
Yes, yes. So it's not really worth it to do it like in some kind of naive way, but
Mm.
we're investigating currently like different approaches. Like for example, one of the approach that we're actually investigating is to allow to create new vaults that would be margined in those assets.
Mm.
And this automatically allows us to list like an inverse contract on those assets, right? So
Mm-hmm.
inverse contract is like a ton USD margin in ton, right? So the
Mm-hmm.
coin
Mm-hmm.
margin version of the contract. Like usually it's called an inverse contract.
Yeah.
And those inverse contract can then be easily listed. And that actually is quite, I think, a quite nice thing for the token because first of all, that's like additional utility for the token. You can
You can
provide
deposit
the
it
token as
and
liquidity, you can deposit, you
earn
can earn
APY
it.
on it.
Yes, your
Yeah.
token can be used as a collateral to trade like Notcoin, Ton, like other coins, which is great
Mm.
as well, another
Yeah.
utility. So instead of like selling it and buying Notcoin or Ton, you can just use it as collateral, go long, and Ton that potentially reduces the sell pressure on those smaller tokens,
Mm.
which is great as well.
Yep.
And
Yep.
also it isolates the risk of this asset in a vault with the same asset. So this
Mm-hmm.
is really, really great like risk management wise. So actually we're investigating like different scenarios on how to do this. And yeah, this is the one that we're working on right now, and I think that should be something that we'll test driver for
Mm.
some time. And if it all works great in like the test environment, we'll actually go and propose some projects like if you want to list on Storm, if you like want to be the first Jetron to actually get like, perpetual futures on them,
Nice.
we can create the vault,
Well,
we'll provide some liquidity and so on and so forth.
that's a nice bit of alpha for the ecosystem, right? You
Yes, yes, definitely.
heard it here first. Storm's going to be coming knocking on your door, ready to list your token on inverse futures, inverse margin. So that's also like another way of like kind of hedging, or
Yes,
like
sure.
or you can hedge really well on inverse margin,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah.
I mean, you can do all the same things like you would do like on like stablecoin margin futures, like on ton margin
Yeah.
futures. Works same way, just the
But
settlement asset is
and
different.
but then you don't need to sell your underlying asset, right? So if
Yes,
if you're a redo holder and you want to trade not coin, but you
yes,
don't want to trade into ton, you don't want to trade into USDT, you can then kind of just use your redo tokens and trade not coin and trade
yes,
ton long short.
yes. So
Yeah.
you can get exposure to those other assets while still holding to like redo as a collateral.
Yes.
And for example, like realizing profit in redo, you can just keep your initial redo for yourself. You can sell just the profit redo. Uh, yeah, you get like you turn profit while still keeping your redo. Isn't this nice?
Oh, so you wouldn't profit in redo? You would
Yes, you would
profit.
profitably do. Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. Very cool. Yeah, so a couple of cool things then. So you're working on the new high load system, which is going to be launched soon, and then you're also working on inverse margin for and you're going to get some of the local Tom projects to launch on that product. Any news on timeline for inverse margins?
Yeah, this is like really research stuff as of right now. So
Okay,
probably it would be after like the commodities on a forex listing.
I see.
Yeah, this is still like research phase.
Cool. Okay. So just to change direction a little bit, because I want to just get a little bit of your backstory, because I know I've known you for a few years. I've known you from our previous project, right? Like we used to work together, or used to be a ecosystem builder in Waves, right? So I've heard of you and known you for a few years, but I never really got to know, like, what is your backstory? Like, how did you get into Web3? What was your interest in it? Like, are you a kind of like crypto should replace the banks and the fiat system kind of guy, or are you just like crypto's here to be a speculative situation, and the technology is the technology, and let's use it to make a lot of money. But what kind of guy? Where do you sit on that spectrum of like philosophical alignment with Web3 to just crypto's just a big casino?
Yeah. So probably like the way I talk, anyone can conclude that I'm like very much a technical person
Yes.
in the first place. So yeah, this is all good. But actually, my journey as crypto started, I think, in 2018. Uh, by this time, I actually was a corporate software developer for around 10 years, actually, maybe a bit less, like 9 to 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like an architect in a large bank.
Okay.
And I was so fed up with all the corporate, the enterprise stuff. It just became so boring. So I actually started like looking around, like in what else technology can I branch, right? And I think two things was actually popular at this time, like machine learning, big data, and blockchain. And yeah, since I'm not very much like the pure math person, like my background, like academical, is in physics.
Mm-hmm.
So while
Okay.
I do have some mathematics here, I still want to like apply it to some things, and like all the data things, pure data things, which is pure math, pure statistics, and yeah, it's not something that is very sexy for me.
Mm-hmm.
And blockchain on the other side, right? It's a very like interesting technology. It's not overly complex actually, because like Bitcoin and Ethereum, not very complex by themselves. Like you can explain it quite easily to any technical guy, and they will understand this. But combined with the economical power on those technologies, it became like a really like interesting tool. And yeah, actually like got in love with the tech, with the idea, and like on the whole like anarchism like kind of things. Actually, the first thing that came into my mind was like, how can I apply this tech to solve some corporate issues? Because like you are seeing those like Bitcoin guys that have their Bitcoins like perfectly, like sending them from one address to the other, and
Mm-hmm.
nothing is double spent. Everything works in a very large decentralized system.
Mm-hmm.
And in a lot of corporate systems, instead you have like those systems that integrate like one subsystem to another, and very
None of them
often
work.
you need to like debug, yeah, like think like why are people seeing different things, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And yeah, and this thing that exactly like I started to like think about how can I apply blockchain principles to like those corporate systems. And the next like after the whole bank thing, I actually worked for like 5 years in the corporate blockchain. Like
Oh,
private
okay.
networks were really applied like all of those principles to
Mhm,
the private networks.
mhm.
And another fun thing is actually I got my first crypto. So the way I learn something, I'm very much a learner by doing.
Yes.
And to learn like whole blockchain test, what I've done is actually registered to the first blockchain hackathon that I could find, and like together with my team, I got there. I coded some like insane stuff for the EOS blockchain, which was popular at the time, and the C++
Oh,
smart
EOS.
contracts. EOS,
Wow,
yes,
back in those days.
yes,
That's
yes,
like what?
yes.
That's just 2017 or something, isn't it?
2008, 2018 actually, yeah,
Okay.
2018. Yes, and like the EOS were very hot at this time.
Mm.
So yeah, did the branch of smart contracts in C++. We won the hack actually, which was
Oh,
insane, I
nice,
think.
nice.
And yeah,
What was the
got some
product?
crypto. The product was, I think, we called this like, block band. So actually, it was like a Kanban board for the freelancers, like the
Okay.
open board where
Right.
everyone can post a task, attach reward, and then it's getting taken by somehow. So the board reflects that he's starting to work. Then the work is finished, and if you like the results, you mark it as done, and the freelancer would get its payment. And if there is a dispute, then there is like a system for the dispute resolution. It's like,
Okay.
yeah. So a pretty, I think, interesting idea.
Very cool
Uh,
idea. I've actually I
yeah,
would just double tap on that before you go on, but I've actually had that idea for Ton. Is like we could actually have some kind of gig economy system on Ton
yeah,
and inside a Telegram. You know, it's a perfect kind of solution for that because you have a massive distribution of where a lot of freelancers, I imagine, are already in place, right? Everyone's using Telegram to freelance all over the world all the time anyway. And then you have the Ton blockchain, Ton Connect, and you have the perfect way to just kind of pay people and do all of those transactions through that system. So, yeah, that's very interesting that you worked on that even back in those days. I think even Solana has something like this with Solana Super Team. They have Earn Super Team, and it's like a kind of gig economy platform where people can put bounties. You can build it's like developer stuff, but also marketing stuff, and they have loads of guys that contribute to that platform every single month and make money and earn by doing. And I think that's a really great application for blockchain, right? Because the freelancer model on say freelancer.com or Fiverr, for instance, the payment system is good, but it's not exactly seamless, right? It can be improved upon by blockchain,
yeah.
for sure.
And so the fun fact is I got my first crypto like by winning this hackathon. So before this, I had no crypto.
Okay,
And yeah,
nice,
uh, and after this, I think I participated in like 25 more hackathons, like winning or taking like prize place in most of them, like 21, 22 out of 25. This is a pretty
nice,
huge track record. Yeah,
nice.
and
So
another fun
so you
thing is Storm was actually born out of a hackathon. So we actually participated in one of the first hackathons hosted by the Tom Foundation
mhm.
back in the early like 2023, and we took a second place here. And yeah, that's basically what allows us to bootstrap Storm and actually take it to the testnet phase. And yeah, now here we are,
Nice.
one of the largest like DeFi projects in town.
That's awesome. That's a fantastic story. So you literally were a hackathon attendee for years. Then you came to Ton. You put Storm through a hackathon. Now it's the biggest one of the biggest DeFi products on Ton. What would you say about the experience for new developers coming in to Ton and thinking about starting out? Do you think a hackathon's a good place to start? You obviously have spent a lot of time doing them. Must find them valuable. What's your opinion on kind of hackathons and if developers should think about doing those?
Yeah, hackathons are absolutely amazing. It's a great learning tool. It's a great networking tool. It's a great way to bootstrap your project. Uh, yeah, it's just too much fun. Like
Right.
really, absolutely appreciate the hackathon, the whole like vibe of them. Yeah, it's just great.
Did you meet your team through a hackathon as well, or did you already have your
Part
team?
of my team, yes, part of my team actually. I actually met our smart contract developer during the hackathon. Like the
Okay.
rest of the team actually, obviously I had connections with like the guys who can do backend, like front end, and so on. But some developers, it's rare and very valuable. So actually met our Tom developer during the hack.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. So if you're a rare ton developer out there listening, go to a hackathon. You could end up product director at one of the big DeFi projects. It is amazing though, isn't it? With Ton, like there's so much that's still to be built in the ecosystem,
Yeah, yeah.
right? There's so many opportunities out there for anyone technical to really get out there and just build a product that exists on another chain, but do it on Ton and then find millions of users, right? And this is the next part I want to touch on is gamification and how the clickers have really come into the central limelight now on Ton. Do you think it's possible for a project with real utility like you guys, like Stormtrade, to actually integrate gamification mechanics and and use like a new way of like onboarding people into actually using your product? Like at the top of the call, you kind of mentioned like one of the issues you see is like we're focused on such a new retail audience generally as an ecosystem, and that's an issue because now it's a struggle to onboard them step by step. Do you think Storm could play a role in actually onboarding people into using more complicated crypto products like Storm? And have you guys thought about doing anything along those lines?
Yeah, absolutely. Since it's one of the main challenges, obviously we are trying like various ways to do it.
Hmm.
First of all, I think that it's important to realize that you wouldn't involve like 100% audience from the tweakers into the DeFi protocol. You
Yeah,
don't need this actually.
of course.
I mean, most of the DeFi projects they strive on a pretty limited audience of very, let's say, advanced people who can
Yeah,
handle like
like
large volumes.
like what's
Yes.
GMX? GMX's monthly
Yeah.
users is what is that like 5,000, 10,000 people?
Yes. Something
Yeah,
around that. Because if you onboard a lot of retail guys and like the financial technologies, um, that means that the customer support costs would like skyrocket, right?
mm,
Because those people would ask a lot of questions and you need to cater to them all. If you don't, them like running around the Telegram and calling it a scam because they do not understand how liquidations work, something along those lines.
I see.
Yeah, we've
Yeah,
been there. We've been there. It's okay. This is why actually, like we do like even at our current stage, we do have 4 dedicated customer support guys. We still have, I think, we have around 1,000 daily active traders,
hmm.
and yeah, the amount of like customer requests is pretty high actually. So yeah, and we
What's
got
the normal customer request? Is it I've clicked short when I should have clicked long and now I've lost all my money? Is that
there
the kind
are
of the majority
requests.
of the things?
There are requests like some along the side. Most of them are like either not understanding how the blockchain itself works,
I
or
see.
like the thing that where they are not like sure about like how the whole like the margin computation works, why what are the funding payments, why the liquidation price like changing all the time.
Mm,
So something like, but there are also like I just said that we are not perfect. We do
yeah.
get a lot of requests like for like really for the defects in like user interface. I mean, they love at the user interface level, but yeah, we do get a valuable feedback from users. So there is that definitely. But
Yeah.
still, like we need to manage. So regarding the whole like user acquisition and converting, I really believe in education. So creating a fun little educational materials like akin to a micro learning where you can combine gamification elements and like some like story like thing can really go a long way in onboarding user.
Hmm.
Of course, gamification mechanics works. And actually, one of the things that why we did not like employ clicker games something like this is because our main product was actually out before the Notcoin launched, and within like the whole like hype around the clicker game started. And
Yeah.
after the mainnet launch, we was just too busy like doing actual mainnet stuff, like improving our protocols, dealing with the network becoming like slower and so on and so forth. So really, we haven't like any time to build like a game or something. But like for the especially like newer and like aspiring projects, I would highly suggest them first of all, do your game, onboard a lot of people. It's a free traffic. You would then be able to monetize it like in different ways. So build a game that closely reflects like experience that your customer would go through actually using your product. So if
Yes.
you are doing trading, do some simple form of prediction market where they can like guess long or short, they will multiply their profits and so on. So it basically creates a habit for users of like doing a certain thing in your application,
Mhm.
and then it will be much simpler for you to onboard them to the actual app because just using the actual app straight away can be overwhelming.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
yeah, since we already have an app, one of our main, I would say, challenges and like product product design changes to actually integrate gamification in the upcoming release. Because after the token launch, we really want to like create this experience for users where they can like trade squads, join them, they can compete, there are like trading competitions going on, and so on and so forth. Because this is exactly the way how like Texas are onboarding their audience. They're
Mhm.
onboarding them through a referral link and be like a trading competition, store money inside.
Yeah.
And by doing similar things, but in a way that's more native, in a way that is less predatory, I would say, we can probably elevate like our user experience quite a bit.
Yeah, one of the things that I've thought about for Storm, and actually lots of the dexes on Ton, is a very Telegram native way of using referral links. So
Yeah,
I was thinking, when a token is like popping off, right? You get like 5% gain on a token. You could pop through a notification to all of your bot users to say forward this referral link to trade this token that's popping off as a hot gainer right now.
yeah,
And then when someone in a chat or a channel clicks that through that link, that user actually gets their referral credit, right? So so I can imagine that could make trading crypto in Telegram so fundamentally viral if we could crack that kind of system, because then every single trade, like good trade that's happening, gets millions or tens of millions of people pouring into it at the moment of time when when it's ready to be traded, right? Are you guys thinking about doing something like that with your referral system?
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things that we need to do. There's a lot of like product, like design things happening around this, like the whole gamifications, like social file, user profile, sharing, referral. So yeah, this part is getting completely redesigned. I would say it's getting designed from scratch. So yeah, obviously all of those things are something that we can't be thinking about.
Okay. The other thing I've also thought is like a demo trading mode, right? Like I think a lot of like I back in the day I used to trade forex, and when people used to trade forex, you used to have MetaTrader 4 on your phone, and they had a demo mode, and they had a real mode, and you could actually trade demo, and they give you like a million dollars or something to trade, and it felt like a real trading experience. But that's been used by like interactive brokers, MT4, all of these traditional financial retail trading platforms have used demo modes to onboard new users to get them used to trading. So I don't see anyone doing that yet, and I'm wondering why. Like, why do you think it's just too much of a big product issue to actually build a full demo mode, um, or do you see that as like it's a good idea and probably could be done, but yeah, what's your opinion on it?
Yeah, it is actually quite difficult. I mean, it is it's difficult because, for example, in Tom, if you want to go like the testnet mode, you need to go into the developer settings of the Tom Keeper. You click 5 times on a certain icon, and then it allows you to switch to testnet. And whenever you're switching back, there are chances that the Tom Keeper would ask you to enter your seed phrase again, which user that would like to like use like those like demo mode would like they already lost. So it can really cause a lot of frustration for them. So really, it's not that simple actually. And otherwise, like the alternative is to do the whole thing off chain, but then you're developing 2 projects, like basically like an off chain verse and on chain verse. So actually, it's quite challenging, like UI thing, a UI verse. So
Yeah.
one thing that I actually like thought about, and it's almost definitely something that we wouldn't do, but maybe if a project can, for example, like launch a memcoin that would cost you like really not a lot, but then you can use this memcoin and like by only like paying like a small like gas fee, you can start trading with this. Maybe that would be a thing, but probably not. But actually, yeah, the user experience, like the whole like user experience is DeFi and such challenging topic. Because like even on board, like look, we are all here because like Ton should be a gateway to crypto for the majority, right?
Yes.
It's like the main value proposition of Ton. But if we think about like the onboarding experience you at wallet, it's non-custodial wallet that allows you to onboard nicely with like an on-ramp and off-ramp. But then whenever you are willing to use a decentralized application like DApp, you need to actually create another wallet inside your wallet. And you need to transfer funds here. And only then you can start trading, start using the apps. And actually it creates a certain traction. So, yeah.
So what would you
DeFi, the whole DeFi user experience, I think, needs to be improved like quite a lot by all of the ecosystem participants.
Mm-hmm. So what would you do in terms of correct, like how to make that experience better in your opinion?
Yeah, first of all, I don't know. Second of all is, for example, really, like I'm not a wallet guy, but what we are doing to reach the more audience, since we are in protocol on chain, right? We are a protocol and an end user application.
Yep.
And we're currently talking with a lot of aspiring wallets that are being built in the Telegram mobile applications. And we are integrating in them. So the people who are already using other applications as a wallet and have access to trading through the Storm protocol. Mm-hmm. So this is like a huge win-win solution because for the wallet user, you want to keep like your users like as much locked in your wallet as possible, so they transact more. And also you wouldn't want to like build a futures protocol, like futures trading protocol by yourself. And again, futures are one of the most demanded crypto products. So by integrating us as a protocol, you give you user, first of all, you give them the ability to trade. Yes, you give them one-click access, and you give them like one less reason to leave your application and go somewhere else, which is very important.
I see. Yeah. So what would that look like? So that would be like inside of Ton space, you would have like a go long on Bitcoin button.
That would be great. Currently, we do have those buttons like we're integrated in the Ton Keeper, on the MyTon wallet, and in the Ton Hub. So a lot of users are actually using them from the application, and there is like a lot of users for this. It's very convenient, right? You open your wallet, you go to like the app section, you select the app. People like super apps, so this is one way of trading like a super app.
Yes.
And for the power users, like using their wallets like on the mobile is a great way. For the Telegram mini app users, again, for us, it's a very nice way of doing customers because a lot of those wallets they actually started from the Clicker game. And actually, we just started talking about the integration relatively recently because previously we just had nothing like to integrate. They
I
had
see.
only game and no wallet. And currently,
Yeah.
a lot of them are actually getting somewhere technically, and we can actually start integrating. And yeah, they have a lot of users. They have like some gamification mechanics already built in, and they want to create as much like products inside the wallet as possible.
Hmm.
Like generate as much transactional volume and transactional revenue, right, for themselves as possible. And yeah, we just going to them. We have a protocol. We have revenue share model. Let's integrate. Yeah, really hope that that would become uh, one more major source for the trading volume
Mm,
for the storm. Because yeah, aside from difficulties, there should be some benefits in being protocol, not actually just aggregating liquidity.
for sure. For sure. So lots to unpack with some really good announcements of sorts there. So you've got the new app product that you guys are working on that was going to be a lot faster than the existing one. You've got inverse margin futures coming. You've got commodities coming to the platform. You're working on gamification mechanics, and you're looking to integrate the protocol into the ecosystem wallets as a way of getting people direct, easy access to perps trading without having to go through StormTrade UI. Really exciting stuff, and I think we've got to wrap it up here. But if you were talking to someone who is on Ton, hasn't necessarily heard about Storm before, what would you say to them? How can they get started? What do they need to do to get going trading on Storm?
Yeah, everything is very simple. You go Storm TG, you select the way you want to trade either in web applications or Tom, and yeah, you connect the wallet and start trading. So there is something that you probably might want to try, like the tone margin,
Mhm.
because currently we are the only like DEX website that offers you the way to margin your positions in tone. So you can still hold tone, get exposure to like tone, Notcoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. Really good. Also, you can farm reward points if that's of interest for you. Those reward points would be converted to some tokens in our upcoming airdrop, like pre-TG event. So yeah, you can get some tokens by just fulfilling your trading needs. So yeah, go away, check it out. Do not forget the risk management, money management. Not yeah, it's
Cool.
very important actually.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely do your own research. Make sure you're using low risk strategies. And what was the mini app name? What was the handle?
Storm Trade Bot.
Storm Trade Bot. Perfect. So you're
Yeah,
just going to go into Telegram, search Storm Trade Bot, and you can get trading right away.
yeah,
All right, Dennis, it's been a pleasure, mate. Thank you so much for your time.
yeah. Thank you for
Look,
getting me here.
look forward to chatting again soon. See ya.
Yeah, see you.